Hiyo everybody, this is IcicleFerret, and today we're going to talk about why the Ropalolyst is the worst boss fight yet. Kicking things off here with number one most annoying reason, the invincibility phase. Or rather, the fact that this thing is always invincible. I mean, invincibility in phases are one of the laziest ways to extend a fight. It just says the boss can't be damaged. And Warframe relies on this mechanic quite a lot. It is unfortunately something that they have to do in order to make sure nobody one-shots the boss before the beginning cinema is even over. But for the Ropalolyst, they take it to a whole new level. Even with the eidolon fights, it's only invincible for a short period of time before you take out the shields, and then you can damage it with normal weapons. For the Ropalolyst, or the Ropalolyst, or whatever, I call it a Ropalolyst, sometimes a Ropacopter, deal with it. For this guy, what you're doing is you're not actually damaging the eidolon. You're getting the environment to kill the eidolon. And what this breaks down to is it doesn't matter what your loadout is, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Essentially, it comes down to memorizing a series of steps and executing them in order. Not exactly engaging gameplay, and I'm pretty sure monkeys were able to use the same technique to fly into outer space. For a game like Warframe, you want to be the one dealing the damage. You want to be that totally awesome space ninja. And for this fight, you're really not. You're just kind of pressing buttons in the right order. The number two reason why this fight's terrible is the environmental hazards. Now, this fight takes place suspended beneath one of Corpus' floating factories. So if you fall, there's no way to recover. You just out of bounds and reappear back on the platform. And it's not a lot of fun to spend a lot of time falling and recovering, especially when your boss is just flying all around you. There's really no reason for you to not be able to use an archwing in this fight, even if it is just to travel from one platform to another. When the eidolon was teased to us, a lot of people speculated that we would be able to use archwing, and it was something that Digital Extreme said they were looking into, but I guess they just decided to forego that mechanic entirely for the fight. It just means that the area that we have to fight him in is not very conducive to actually fighting him. You spend a lot more time trying not to fall than you do actually fighting the Ropalolyst. And I guess I kind of hinted at it, the 2.5 reason why this fight's bad is that you can't use the archwing. There's really no reason for it. The enemies in this level have jetpacks. This boss is a flying boss. The room that we're fighting him in is archwing sized. It's massive, but you just can't use your archwing for whatever reason. It's so counterintuitive, it's baffling. Like when I first hit this fight, I even tried to deploy my archwing because it just made sense to use it. And you can't use it. Reason number three, one-hit kills. Ropacopter has basically two fighting forms. When switching from his flying form to his ground form, he can murder you in one hit. There is a bit of a wind-up, and if it's possible to dodge this by jumping, but depending on how good your connection is to the host, the window to dodge can actually be over before your controls are unlocked, just basically leading to instant death. You know, there's a little cinema that plays. You kind of have to start jumping before that cinema is even over. So unless you're really expecting it, you're going to get slammed. Not only does nobody like one-hit kills, but they do kind of force you into a certain play style, either be super maneuverable or super tanky. And that does seem to be the way Warframe is going now. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but they are kind of forcing you towards certain play styles and towards certain frames for different game and missions. Reason number four why this is a terrible fight, the grab mechanic. When it's on the ground in its ground fighting phase, form, whatever you want to call it, Ropacopter can grab your frame and or operator. And from the escape, there's no escaping. If it grabbed your frame, I mean, you could switch to your operator, but the thing has two hands and there's nothing stopping it from grabbing your operator as well, which means you are absolutely stuck. And it wasn't until a few weeks after launch that DE patched the ability to open your text channels while grabbed, meaning you could actually call for help. Prior to that, you just had to sit there and wait. Now, the reason this is very annoying is that player agency, basically being the one in control when you play a game, is sacred. So if you take it away from your players, you'd better have a very good reason for doing so. And games that do include some kind of grab or grapple mechanic almost universally include some kind of struggle or breakaway mechanic as well, so that players can at least feel like they're having some effect on the outcome of the grapple. These struggle mechanics are so prevalent that when the Ropacopter grabbed me, I started button mashing, thinking that I could get out of it. But no, I couldn't. I just had to wait until it killed me or let me go. But it just leaves you feeling annoyed, cheated, and powerless in a game when we're supposed to be in control. I'm sure there are more reasons for why battle is bad. I mean, it's bugged up the wazoo, but that's just Warframe in general, so I don't think it's fair to pick on the Rafflecopter for being bugged when everything in Warframe is bugged. So instead of the environment dealing all the damage, it would be far more cool to let us Tenno actually take the final shot. I mean, the environment could work to make them vulnerable to specific types of damage, kind of like Orb Mother damage cycling, or it could be more like Monster Hunter, where the environmental damage deals a massive amount in one hit, but it's still up to the players to finish it off. Damage could be gated, so that players have to mix up the type of damage we deal, or whether it's within weapon or environment, or with an in-game explanation, like its shields are adapting. I mean, it is a sentient after all, no one would question it. Overall, what I really wanted to see out of this fight was us fighting the eidolon. And currently, we don't get that. But that's enough rambling for me. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you all next time. Until then, stay frosty, my friends.